Hey guys, welcome back to CheatSheetPros.com. Today is Monday, March 14th, and we're starting off March Madness week by looking at some NBA player props and prize picks for the night. So as always, we're going to dig through the NBA cheat sheet. We're going to find a few plays that we like. Typically, a lot of them aren't out till afternoon, but I wanted to get this video up a little earlier today. And then also I wanted to tell you about the 2 March Madness bracket challenges that we're doing at Cheat Sheet Pros. So the first one we're doing is over here, and you can find this at our website, CheatSheetPros.com. We're doing a basic pool. 100% of the money is paid out. It's $10 per bracket or $25 for 3 brackets. And first place will get 50%, second place 30%, third place 20%. We pay it all out. It's on Yahoo, so you can see exactly how many people signed up, so you'll know what the prize pool is. You can follow the leaderboard for everybody. Should be a lot of fun. Typically, I don't like hosting these because it's a lot of work, but this year I was really excited for March Madness, so I put that up there. If you want to join, you can Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, whatever you want, either the 10 or the 25 for your brackets, and then I send you the link with the password and get you in, but I would get it done before late Wednesday so you make sure you get a spot. So that's one that we have, and the second one we're going to do is I have a few lifetime members where I've done contests and whatnot, and I had people approach me. So I'm doing a March Madness bracket, and I'm making it really cheap, and it's called the Lifetime Membership Bracket. It's $5 for 1 bracket or $10 for 3 brackets, so that averages $3.33 per bracket, and the winner will get a lifetime membership at Cheat Sheet Pros, and this is everything. I don't split up content and say, oh, well, it's so much for football or baseball, or it's just 100% of everything. Picks, prize picks, sports bets, sheets, year-round for the rest of your life, a lifetime member. So the winner will get that. So that one's a lot of fun. And if 3 people sign up, well, I'm still giving away a lifetime membership. There's no limitation. So anyone that wants in, shoot over $5 or $10 for 3 brackets and I'll get you in. And that one should be a lot of fun. My name is in there, but that's just so I can track it. And I'll fill out a bracket. But if I happen to win, it'll go back to the second place person. But anyways, that's my bracket spiel, so let's go ahead and take a look at some prize picks. So as always, we pull up our NBA cheat sheet, and we've got all your daily fantasy information over here, stuff for sports betting, our models that give you projections of games, tiers, all that good stuff. So we're going to go to the last 7 tab, as we always do when we're looking at NBA player props, and we've got our points, rebounds, and assists. And this does look a little different from some of my other videos that I've done, and the reason is I've added in the last 10 DVP ranks. So I've noticed on some other sites, when they're looking at a points prop, they show what the opponent is allowing, their rank for points for the season. And I thought that was pretty neat, so I did that and I highlighted, except for I'm doing just the last 10 games. I hate it at this point of the season. If you look at the season average, because everything kind of blends together, I want a blip on the radar. So over the last 10 games, it's likely the same group of people. What are they allowing? Where are they at? So using the last 10, it's also something that's constantly moving and evolving, so we can get a better grasp than like, well, what have they done over 60 games on the season? Well, I don't care. What they've done over the last 10 games, I do care about. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. As always, you want to make sure the last 7 minutes and current minutes is the same. We're going to look at the differences on the props here. For the purposes of this video, we're going to hit a couple on points. I found a rebound and assist one I want to go over. And then I'm going to dig in a couple other ones that I found interesting. So I'm going to go over here 2 points. I'm going to sort this and the difference from high to low. The first guy that comes up is De'Aaron Fox. So we're going to take a look at Fox as one of our plays. So Fox, 25.5 points, love it. He's got 41 against Utah, 32 against Denver, 44 against Dallas. And then he had a couple games where he was just barely over or under that number. But what I like about it is his floor is 24 points, and it's 25.5, so he's going to get close to that no matter what. Now, his DVP matchup is really tough today. Now, Chicago's 21st in points allowed, but they are a tough defense. But we do like him to go over. Fox is someone who's consistently been doing that. I typically have been looking at the players' last 10 hit rates, but I didn't do it for this video. But definitely someone we want to take a look at. Giannis is the second person going up against Utah. He should ball out tonight. And so his points prop is 29.5. He's been over this in 4 of the last 5 games, averaging 33.2. And in the last 3 games alone, he's got 31, 43, and 39 points. And this should be a good matchup against Utah tonight. So I expect to get a really good game out of him. And asking for 30 points is not out of this world. So Giannis is someone we all need to take a look at. And then flipping down here, Garland has a tougher matchup, but he's someone that's going to pop up as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at him. So when looking at Garland, you know, he's kind of, I don't love this one. He's been over it in 3 of these last 5 games, but what I don't like is, so we need 25, and he has 25, 24, and a 26. So he's kind of been skating around that line, so I think that one's a little tricky. That's one that I'm going to stay away from. But again, this sheet's here to point players out. You go look at them, you make a decision. Utah's in a great DVP spot tonight, but they don't have any of their players up yet, unfortunately. And then scrolling down here, looking at this opponent last 10 rank, a couple that jump out at me are right here, 28-29. We have Miles Bridges and Kevin Herter. So Herter's a lower minute player, so be careful with him. But Miles Bridges is pretty consistent, playing a lot of minutes. We have 35.9 versus 36 and a usage rate over 20, so that's good. Also, we see a massive amount of fantasy points allowed, so this should be a good back and forth game. As far as points per allowed, the opponent's 28th and 29th in the last 10 games as far as allowing points. So these are 2 guys that you definitely want to notice on the sheet and take a look at. So Herter is 12.5 points. I love the low number. If he only plays 25 minutes, I'm fine with that. He's fairly consistent. 14, 16, 16, and 17 in 4 of the last 5. So Portland gives up a ton of everything, so that's someone I think we can take a shot at if you want a low number. If you want something a little higher, then I think Miles Bridges is a little bit more consistent. He's been averaging 19.6. His number's 19.5, but he had 30 against Brooklyn, 26 against the Pelicans, 17 against Boston. That was a really tough matchup. And the 10 and 15, I didn't dig into those games to see what's going on, but given some of the ceilings that he's had, he's gaining 150% of this number in some matchups, and he has a good DVP spot tonight, so that's someone that I am going to consider. And as always, you can flip through this sheet, go over to rebounds, go over to assists, and flip through it. I could spend hours and hours looking at this thing. I have an absolute blast on it. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of time to do all of that. But like a couple of these, the rebounds, I try to look up, but a lot of these players like Van Vliet's not up yet. And some of these guys that are big rebounders, you can see what the opponent's allowing per rebound. And then taking a look at assist, one that jumped out at me was De'Aaron Fox again. So he's projected at 6.5. He's averaging 10.5 over the last 7 days, so that jumped out. Shay was another one that jumped out, and so is D'Angelo Russell for assists. So I did have a few assist plays that I like, so let's go ahead and take a look at those. One of my favorite plays was the Fox assist. Look, he's been killing this number. 11, 10, 7, 6, and 9 over the last week. Or last 5 games, I'm sorry. So he's averaging 8.6. So he's even projected at 6.5. So it's rare you see his raw projection more than what the price pick line is. So Fox over 5.5 assists is one of the props that I really like tonight. And then also, I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead to this. Another one that propped up is you can even look at his PRA, his points, rebounds, and assists. Look at this, 55 against Utah. We have a 35.5 line, so he went 19.5 over that number. So that is phenomenal. And here he was over 10 over, slid over 15 over. So he's been killing this number. Now, Chicago is a tough matchup, so don't expect a 50 or 55 game, but asking for him to get somewhere in that 36 to 40 range, I don't think is out of the question. So my card tonight will start with either a Fox points, assist, or PRA prop tonight. And then some of these other ones, let me see if Shay's assists are up. 7.5, that feels kind of like a big number. He went way over it, and he's kind of skated around it. So I call this kind of skating when you're like a 0.5 to 1 under or 0.5 to 1 over. So I'm probably going to stay away from that one. That's kind of how I look at the sheet. And then I'm going to come back and dig that out. Russell, let's take a look at him. So what I like is he's got way over this number. He's been over it in 3 of the last 4 games, and the one he missed, he just slid under. So we need 8 tonight, and he's got 9, 7, 12, and 15 over recent games. So you want to look at his minutes. So 34 versus 33, that's phenomenal. The opponent's not allowing many assists. They allow the 6th fewest assists, so take that just with a grain of salt. Don't base your decision on it. I look more at what the player's doing versus what the opponent's allowing, but he's someone that you can consider. And then looking at a couple other resources that weren't on the sheet, I dug up the Dejante Murray. He popped as a 5-0 play. Averaging 26.4 points over the last 5 games. You can see he's consistent, 27, 25, 26, 25, 29. So I don't mind his skating around that number a little bit because he's pretty consistent. If it was 24.5, I would probably stay away from it. 23.5 doesn't feel real bad. Minnesota gives up a ton of points, so that's someone that I want to take a look at. And then Wiggins rebounds over 3.5 is one that had a 5-0 hit rate. But on Price Picks, they don't have Andrew Wiggins rebounds, so you have to look at his points, rebounds, and assists, which it's still a 4-1 run, but that's someone to take a look at. Is Wiggins rebounds over 3.5 is on a 5-0 run, so if Price Picks releases it, that's fine. If they don't, then, take it with a grain of salt. I think Saddiq Bey, we had 3.5 assists, but Price Picks never put it up, so I never bet it, and it missed, so I wasn't that upset with that one. And then some of the free throw ones I've always talked about in the videos, like I'm going to look at some free throw props and see what we got. So I found a couple of these that are kind of fun that I'm going to mix in tonight to get some action. The first one's going to be Darius Garland. Look at these free throws over the last 4 games. 7, 15, 9, and 6. So he's averaging almost 8 free throws a game, and that includes the 2 he had against Philly, but his number's only 3.5, so that feels a little low. So I wanted to dig into this a little bit. So I went over here to the just NBA.com stats, and I'm looking at free throw attempts allowed by the opponent over the last 10 games, and they are playing the Clippers tonight. And so the Clippers allow the 2nd fewest, so I would say it's a tough free throw DVP if that's a thing. They're only allowing 19.9 free throw attempts, but that's still 20 free throw attempts per game, and he's someone who has the ball in his hand, so I like taking over 3.5, especially as many fouls as, he's been generating. That's someone I want to take a look at. Now, the other one that really jumps out at me is Trey Young over 7. You can see he's been over this in 4 of the last 5, with 14, 10, 8, and 10 in 4 of the last 5 games. And they're going up against Portland, who gives up the most everything. So when we go over here and we look at Portland, well, that wasn't very eye-pleasing. So Portland has given up the 30th most free throw attempts per game at 32.1. So I like to take a shot here on Trey Young over 7 free throws made. 7 gives us a push, so 6 is what really hurts us. If you want to dig in, you can go look at his game logs and see how many games he had 6 or less. But for me, he's been over this in 4 of the last 5. He's going up against the team that gives up the most free throw attempts in the entire NBA. So I'm going to take a shot at Trey Young over 7 free throw attempts. And then there's one other one I wanted to take a look at was Shay Alexander. So his free throw attempts, let me find it in here, was 5.5. So that felt a little low. He's coming off 12 against Memphis, and then he was under it against Minnesota, and then he had 8 at Milwaukee and 11 at Utah. And then going up against Charlotte, they're about bottom 3rd on free throw attempts allowed. I think they were 20th. Yeah, so they're 20th right here at 25.3 per game. So bottom 3rd, I'd take a shot on that for Shea to go over 5.5. So Trey Young would be my favorite, Garland would be my second, and Shea would be my other one. So those are what I came up with for the morning props that I have. So I'm starting off with De'Aaron Fox. I'm probably going to get some Giannis in there because that should be a good possible potential playoff game with Utah. And then I'm going to mix in some of these free throw attempts. I may do a Garland and Trey Young in there with it. I think those would be a lot of fun. But anyways, feel free to post down in the comments any plays that you guys like or that you see. And as always, check the cheat sheet for the 4:30 Central Time update as projections change a little bit and a few more guys pop. So good luck, guys. Go make some money.